What's up, sons? It's Blind Run with Son of a Tech, and there has been a patch that has apparently gone ahead and given us the full performance for AMD in the game Darksiders, and it's the Warmastered Edition. So we're going to take a look at it. Stick around. Per usual, we're going to be using the same test bench, and you can check out the initial video of this game and all of the specs for the test bench. They'll also be in the description below. You will also be able to see what the settings we're doing this at, and as well as the exact walkthrough of the benchmark that we're running. So click there if you need to see that. What we're going to be doing here is actually going ahead and talking about the results. So hopping into it at 1080p on very high, the RX480 has gone from 40 FPS on the minimum to a whopping 113 FPS with an average of 118.6 and a max of 123. This actually beats out the GTX1060, which had a minimum of 114 with an average of 117 and a max of 122. Bumping up to 1440p, we see another win for the RX480 with a minimum FPS of 116, an average of 119.1, and a max of 122. While the GTX1060 in this case had a minimum of 114 with an average of 117.1 and a max of 122. The only place that the RX480 does fall short is at 4K, where we had a minimum FPS of 56 with an average of 92.6 and a max of 112. While on the GTX 1060 we stayed well above 60 FPS on the minimum frame rate with 72 and an average of 90.4 with a max of 112 FPS. I actually found this quite curious that we did have a win for the GTX 1060 at 4K, and I feel like playing these remasters, including like the BioShock, being able to stay above 60 FPS on like a mid to budget card and play it at 4K is pretty fun. That means that you have a reason to go ahead and upgrade to a 4K panel and not spend a ton of money, which is pretty cool. However, even more interesting is that at lower resolutions, it does seem like the RX480 outperforms the GTX 1060. So in this case, it's kind of a trade-off. If you're already playing at 4K and you're really not spending a lot on your graphics card, which would be kind of odd, then you would get the GTX 1060. If you're more in the budget range and you're playing on a 1440p monitor or a 1080p monitor, I would recommend picking up the RX480. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you're interested in individual reviews of these cards, be sure to check them out in the description below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next Tuesday.